Well, I've just got up this morning and had a look at the news, and I nipped over to the Guardian because, as it says, they are the guardian of our morals, aren't they? The Guardian. They guard our ethics and morals at all times, and so I felt that my morals needed guarding. So I went over there and I saw this story that you can see here yourselves. King's guitarist Dave Davies hits back at Moby for calling the 1970 single Lola gross and transphobic. What the hell's going on here? Who's calling the Kings bloody gross and transphobic? You know, I've never thought that they were transphobic. I'm not all gross, you know. So, you know, I was starting to read about the story, and apparently what's happened is Moby got asked by The Guardian, as they were guarding, you know, everybody's morals, and said, what songs would you not listen to that you used to like, that you don't like anymore, now that your morals have been guarded so well, that you go, I just cannot listen to this? And he pointed the finger at Lola, which I've always thought was one of the great British songs of all time. We're really talking about one of the great songs. I mean, it could be on many people's top tens as greatest songs, you know. So I thought, well, you know, maybe he's got a point, old Moby. But the problem is, you know, my view of Moby is he's a little bored twat, isn't he, really? Who has made a living by basically sampling good music and then sticking his name on it. He's neither good looking or talented, right? And he's a little wimp, isn't he? And in a fight between the Davis brothers and Moby, we know who would win. But there he is behind his keypad, you know, getting all brave and, you know, and all this, and calling people gross. What the hell's going on, Moby? If anyone's gross, it's you, mate, you little bored little ferret. So, you know, I approached it with that sort of you know, mindset, you know. But I thought, hang on, Andy, just hold your horses here. You know, don't just react, you know, as you do. Don't just react. So I thought, okay. So I started to give it some thought. And I'm afraid when I did give it some thought, I came up with the 10 greatest transphobic songs of all time. You see, my mind works like that. I don't, it's a bit like having top 10 Tourette's, I call it. Any subject, I'm coming up with a top 10 for it. And I thought, oh my God, now I've got the list. I really want to do it. There's some great songs there. I'm sure there'll be great little stories we can tell, you know, about it. And I thought that would be fun, you know. So, I have got the top 10 here, and in a minute I will go through them. But before I start on all this, what I might do is, because you probably think I'm a bit reactionary. I know some of you do, you know, and I'm not at all. In my time as a music lecturer, I had many trans students, and they were lovely students, and I supported them. And I think anyone just live and let live. You know me, I'm just like, you should be able to do whatever you want to do, you know. And I find it quite artistic, you know, and things like that. And so, you know, I don't like the trans people being maligned or upset by anybody at all, you know. So that's my basic starting point for this. But it is interesting when the subject matter brings together a number of songs together, and surely you should be able to sing about whatever you want. The question is whether the artist is actually being transphobic or not. And I think that's quite interesting. But I was quite aware, you know, that I needed to get a second opinion. So, you know, I went over to my mate, Woke Wesley. Woke Wesley he's got a politics degree from the London School of Economics, works in the civil service. And, you know, he's always good to go for these things. Now, I haven't got any video interview with him, but I remember what he said. So I'm going to recreate him by putting this around my neck, if that's all right. So I'm going to sort of drape this sort of thing around my neck like that. All right, have you got that? You know, it's not quite right, is it? But it's the best I could find at this moment in time, and I'll give you Wesley's reaction. Well, Andy, I feel you're going into an area that you have no right to discuss. Being white, cisgendered male, or I assume you are. I'm going to assume you are anyway, because you seem like that. Not that I'm prejudiced at all. And I think you can't really talk about this. It's as soon as you go near this area, it's always utilised by the far right to create division and hate. Even though I just called you a cisgender white male. automatically putting you into a bracket, which is, of course, but that doesn't matter, because if you look at the great meta-narrative of white supremacy, you're right at the top. I know I earn a lot more than you in the civil service, obviously, but that's neither here nor there. It's nothing about what you earn and what you actually have. It's what's inside of you, and people have things inside them, and they need to be let out. And I don't think you're the right person to be talking on this whatsoever. So I would not even go near the subject and just leave it to people who are qualified to speak about it, which is just trans people and nobody else. I think that's the safest way to go. So that was Wesley, and I took on board what Wesley said, but then I thought, why don't I ring up my mate, Far Right Fred, who's a plumber, and see what he's got to say. And he said this: transgenders, with my bloody flag. So, taking those two sides together, I'm gonna give you my thoughts on this. Now, older Dave Davis has answered back. He said, he told the Guardian Saturday magazine, he said, well, I'll tell you what Moby said first, because I'm reading the wrong bits. Moby said, I like their early music. Oh, God, I hate when people say that. But I was really taken aback at how unevolved the lyrics are. That was what Moby said. It's unevolved. See, lyrics should evolve as time goes on. So if you write a song in 1970, what should happen is those lyrics over time, like some gene mutating, should mutate into some sort of political correct future. And he's looking at a set of lyrics which are in the olden days, and they haven't changed. They are still representing what time was like then, and we really need to ignore that and pretend that never existed, right? So that's what he's saying. The song details a young man in a nightclub falling for a figure who walked like a woman but talked like a man. It concludes girls will be boys and boys will be girls. It's a mixed up, muddled up, shook up world, except for Lola. Now I think that's quite interesting. Now, Dave Davis, who's got nothing to do with this really, because it's his brother Ray, I think, who wrote the lyrics. He said this: I am highly insulted that Moby would accuse my brother, King songwriter Ray Davis, of being unevolved or transphobic in any way. In another post he continued, I don't want to show the guy up, but Moby should be careful about what he says, and he should do, Being London and working class, the Kinks may still have a few old connections, Sure, they rubbed shoulders with the old craze, not to, malign them in any way, but that's the way it is. We appreciate them. Why is Moby being so rude about this simple song? We're not transphobic. Why does he have to have a go at us? So it goes on like this, and it's all the same old talk, isn't it? And it's whipping up a little bit of, interest. And I'm sure this video will do well, especially with my title. And I need to get the views. I've been too much proper music stuff and not being stupid. And even though I'm highly qualified to talk about music, you seem to like it more when I just call people twats and put on silly voices. So I've got the lyrics to Lola here. Let's see what he says. I met her in a club down in Old Soho. So that's good, because he's not misgendering the trans person, is he? He's said her, where you drink champagne and it tastes like Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, all that bit. So he's on. They didn't like that, the BBC, did they? At the time, they said we can't have this. You're advertising the old Coca-Cola there. So he didn't have to change it to something. I don't know. But what point's he making there? Because what he's saying, I think, is that he's in an establishment that thinks it's above what it is. Perhaps a sort of, you're drinking champagne, but really doesn't taste like champagne because it's probably too cheap. It just tastes like Coca-Cola. And then he gets that into the song as though he's selling that song. So there's something much more complex than simple gross going on here. I don't know whether I'm qualified to really work it out, but there seems to be some sort of comment about, London at that time and a sort of shabby chic almost he is inferring. And then he says this: she walked up to me and she asked me to dance. I asked her name and in a dark brown voice, she said, Lola, Lola. Now, the dark brown voice could mean that he had a deep voice, or she had a deep voice. I do apologise. She had a deep voice, quite I've done straight away, and I thought I'd be able to get through this. And, you know, I really thought I could do it. Do you now understand what I'm trying to say? You are not the right person. You are full of so many prejudices, and you wear them on your sleeve, Mr. Edwards. But what's more interesting is a dark brown is the colour of Coca-Cola. And Lola, which obviously there was a song by Marlene Dietrich, wasn't there, about Lola? It's a sort of femme fatale name, but it also rhymes with Coca-Cola. Then he says this, well, I'm not the world's most physical guy, but when she squeezed me tight, she nearly broke my spine. Now here, he's saying that he's the man here, the gentleman here in the place, but he's actually he's quite weak when compared to this person, but he's a man. This is a woman, and this is a man, right? And then he says, well, I'm not dumb, but I can understand why she walks like a woman and talks like the man. So that basically, he's cotton on that this person is a trans person, which is why you have the name trans, and why you don't just call them a woman or a cis woman. You call them a trans woman because they're trans, right? And he is never saying this, but he knows. But he's still having the courtesy and civility to you know, treat this person with respect and see that he may not be the most male person. And this person seems to imbue femininity when he says she walks like a woman. Well, we drank champagne and danced all night under the electric candlelight. Again, there's this idea of the shabby chic. She picked me up and sat me on her knee. She said, little boy, won't you come home with me? Well, I'm not the most passionate guy, but when I looked in her eyes, well, I almost fell for my Lola. Right? So I think what he's here, he's actually making a claim that these gender and sex sort of lines are actually really blurred in reality, because things can have a different appearance, you know, to what you think. You know, things can look and seem different, and this can be at once a romantic place to be in, but at the same time it could be fake or real. I mean, what does it matter? But anyway, I pushed her away and walked to the door. I fell to the floor, I got down on my knees. Well, I looked at her and she at me. Well, that's the way I want it to stay, and I will always want it to be that way for my Lola. Now, what's going on here? I pushed her away and walked to the door, then he fell to the floor and got down on his knees. Well, I looked at her and she looked at me. Well, that's the way I want it to stay. So what he's saying here, this is profound, because I think here he is singing about almost like a sublime platonic love, that the feeling he got when he looked into her eyes is more valuable, and he wants that to be the experience. There's an experience there he liked, and he is savouring it. Then he says, girls will be boys, boys will be girls. It's all mixed up, muddled up, shook up world, except for Lola. Lola's the one person who knows who they are. Well, I'd left home just a week before, and I'd never kissed a woman before. But Lola smiled, took me by the hand, and she said, little boy, going to make you a man. Right. Now, is it going to make the man? Is it going to be from something gross, some sort of gross, nasty, carnal act? We don't know. You know, he said at one point, he said he wanted to keep everything just to take in this much more sublime, you know, thing. And then he says again, well, I'm not the most masculine man, but I know what I am, and I'm glad I'm a man, and so is Lola. Right? And that's the end of the song. Now, I think this is possibly the greatest song about transgenderism. I think the reason why we have the debate on transgenderism, it's the dialectic, it's the aesthetic against truth statements, it's the material against the spiritual, it's all the things that fascinate me. And as I have said, it's only art that can bring these things together. And in this song, because Ray Davies is painting pictures in your mind, and he's creating a sense of a place. I imagine the bar they're in. Do you imagine the bar they're in? I do. I imagine what it's like, and it's both upper class, lower class. It's refined, not refined. It's male, not male. It's female, not female. And in the middle of that, when you put it all together, there is the fact of this sublime beauty that emerges, which moves him. Okay, it moves him. So I think what we've got here with old Moby is just a virtue signalling fool who hasn't actually bothered to look at the song and realise that what's being said in this is absolutely profound. And I find it quite wonderful. I've tried my best to bring it out in this video, but you never quite can. So I suggest you go and, put on the older Spotify and go and have a listen to it for yourself and see how it makes you feel. And hopefully it makes you feel like I feel, which is that whatever you think and whatever side you're on, and whether you believe something is or not, or whether you want to be involved in the sort of aesthetic wonder of the world or go, no, that's a fact and I'm not having my facts changed. Within all that, we can feel something which basically brings people together and creates a harmony. This song is not transphobic. I hope I've explained that on here. Let's go and ask old. Should we go and ask? Now I've said my piece. I'll go and ask. Far right Fred what he thinks.
What were you saying, mate? What were you saying? What were you trying to say, mate? You're saying that bloke was a bird, was you? Well, he bloody was not, and I ain't having it.
Right. So, okay. So, I have got a list of songs here that I've put in. I haven't put any of the David Bowie Rebel ones. I looked at the lyrics. I thought, I don't know what to say about that. So they're not in. So don't put in the comments. They're not in. But at number 10, I have got Jeremy Bender. Jeremy Bender by ELP. Now that should be of interest to you, because you like your prog, don't you? A lot of you like your prog, don't you? Some of you watching this, So, I'm going to have a look at the lyrics here and see, what this one's like, Jeremy Bender was a man of leisure, took his pleasure in the evening sun, laid him down in a bed of roses, finally decided to become a nun. Well, this sounds like bloody nonsense, really, isn't it? Who wrote this one? Talked with the sister, spoke in a whisper, threatened to fist her if she didn't come clean, jumped on the mother just like a brother, asked one another if the other is queen, digging the sister, she was a mister, shouldn't have kissed her, but he couldn't say no, wanted to leave her, couldn't believe her, so he picked up his suitcase and decided to go. I mean, this is bloody nonsense, isn't it? I think it's the same idea. I think written around about the same time, it could be the same year as Lola, it's nowhere near in that league. But it has got like the double rhyming on each line, which I'm sure they thought they were very clever with. It seems to be, very basic in that, he's kissed this trans lady and, he doesn't know whether he likes it. He had to do it. I don't know. I mean, this is rubbish, isn't it? And I think the problem with this is the title, which just is not very, it's not very nice, is it? ELP. To be calling people words like that. I don't like that. So I think that this one is, and I think we know this one might need to be stuck in the bin. The next one I've got is highly contentious. It's the old Bobby Brown by Frank Zappa, which appeared on Shake Your Booty. And I can remember as a young lad, I think it was about the second or third album that I ever got by Zappa, that I found this very funny, because it was rude, Now, in this song, I'm not going to go through the lyrics because it is really quite offensive. but it describes some sort of jock, this bloke, and he's at school, and Zappa describes it in an absolutely horrible way. His car is fast, his teeth is shiny, and he tells all the girls he can kiss his hiney. Here he is at a famous school. He's dressing sharp and acting cool. He's got a cheerleader here, wants to help her with her paper. He'll let her do all the work, and then maybe later he'll her. Yes, rhymes with paper. He'll her, yes. And so he is the American dream, you know. He's handsome, he's rich, he's got all that. And then women's liberation comes along. Zappa don't like that much, does he? It comes accretion all across the nation. He meets a lesbian lady. And she sort of lectures him on all this. And then something goes on with the vice. I don't really want to go into all this. Like, then we got Vaseline. And so basically he's saying that he's made gay. This big American jock is made gay by women's liberation. And then within that, he becomes more effeminate. Well, it's grossly offensive, isn't it? The only thing I can defend Zappa on this is Zappa's songs. Everybody is up for critique. He has a go at absolutely everybody, and he's as vicious to the sort of MAGA, you know, American jock of Bobby Brown, which is the embodiment of the jock in that name, you know, I would say. And he pokes fun at them. I think it's pretty offensive. Of course, this song, Bobby Brown, the way it's written, it's actually a very catchy and quite smoochy tune. Middle of the road almost. And so across Europe, where they didn't understand the lyrics, you know, couples would, you know, get on the dance floor and do the, you know, slow dance together. And they do all that, and it made it a huge hit record across Europe, which I think is quite interesting, isn't it? I don't know what to say about that. I'm a Zappologist, as we are called, but that one has always gone a little bit too far for me. Right, so that's what I got number 9. And number 8, I have got Arnold, Layne by Pink Floyd. And it is off the first album. It's a Syd Barrett one. Arnold, Layne. It's a bit like Penny Lane, isn't it? You've got Penny Lane, who's obviously a girl, sounds like a girl's name, which is actually Elaine. And now we've got Arnold Layne, which is a boy. Now, Arnold Layne had a strange hobby collecting clothes. Moonshine, washing line, they'd suit him fine. So he's going off and stealing clothes. We don't know what sort of clothes they are, but we're going to have to assume for this video that they're ladies' clothes. On the wall hung a tall mirror, distorted view, see-through, baby blue, he'd done it. So in the sort of warpedness of the mirror, when he puts these clothes on, he transforms. Arnold Layne, it's not the same. Takes two to know, two to know, two to know. Why can't you see Arnold Layne, Arnold Layne? So this, he's actually going, you know, you may think you look like that from your subjective view, but as Sid says, it takes two to know, right? Two to know. Now, old Moby's not having a go at old Syd Barrett here, but this does seem to be a little bit transphobic. Now he's caught, a nasty sort of person. They gave him time, doors bang, chain gang, he hates it. So now he's been stuck in prison just for dressed up as a lady. It's a bit much, isn't it? Oh, Arnold Layne, it's not the same, takes two to know. So I would say Arnold Layne, surprisingly, is a bit transphobic, I think. And I think he's stating one side of the argument, which of course back in 1967 was quite reasonable, wasn't it? But it isn't now. So that one definitely hasn't evolved. But I think in terms of the Lola one, I think it has. There's nothing wrong with that. Right, the next one I've got on the old thing is Girls and Boys. Now, this is by Blur, and it's a lot more recent. I mean, because this song is only 30 years old as opposed to nearly 60. Well, in that case, 60 years ago. And I've never really understood what this one's about. I haven't given it loads of thought, but I am a fan of Blur. I do like Blur. So this is the lyrics. Streets like a jungle, so call the police. Following the herd down to Greece on holiday. Great bit of a lyric right in there. Love in the 90s is paranoid. On sunny beaches, take your chances looking for girls who are boys, who like boys to be girls, who do boys like their girls, who do girls like their boys. Always should be someone you really love. So this is really an ode against casual sex on holiday, isn't it? Then the next bit goes, avoiding all work because there's none available. Like battery thinkers, count your thoughts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fingers. Nothing is wasted, only reproduced. You get nasty blisters and then dear bissertion. but we haven't been introduced. So what they're playing off sort of working class people going on holiday. You know, they're getting their break from work, but they don't work anyway. And of course, Blur at this point, you know, great as they were, being part of the old Britpop scene, they were a bunch of posh boys. I mean, talking very, very posh boys who put on the old I'm a geezer, you know, apples and pears and all that bit, in conjunction with Oasis, who were the real deal, albeit not probably as sophisticated in their songwriting and musical prowess as Blur. So I don't think this one's really talking about trans issues as such. I think it's talking about established conservative view of love, which they're not a part of because they're part of the 90s. They're part of this seed and they're all involved in it. But actually there's a part of them, a sort of more older conservative part that just wants a normal, happy relationship, just girl-boy relationship. So I think there's nothing wrong in wanting that if you want and writing a song about it. Think it is a little bit though, don't you? Think it's a little bit, yeah? Shall we move on? So, of course, now we move to the song which Moby will never pick on, right? He would never pick on this song. And it is, of course, Walk on the Wild Side by Lou Reed. A brilliant song. You know, I have had a go at Lou Reed in the past, you know, but actually it's an incredible song, you know, the arrangement of it, the parts, that incredible Herbie Flowers bass line, which just makes the tune iconic. Or songs should have, a lot of punky songs don't have that. A lot of, you know, when musicians aren't that great, they don't have these sort of iconic parts which make songs great. So let's see what Lou's talking about on here. Of course, his old shtick is to be a very strong songwriter, almost coming in from the Tin Pan Alley school of songwriting, but being able to then cast that sort of Tin Pan Alley eye, unlike Burt Bacharach, which would be on sort of more sophisticated and refined things. He tends to look down in the low-life areas, doesn't he? So I think this is what we've got going on here. He is exploring the nether regions of society, isn't he? As he always did, you know. Holly came from Miami, FLA, hitchhiked her way across the USA, plucked her eyebrows along the way, shaved her legs, and then he was a she. She says, hey, baby, take a walk on the wild side. So this is like a bit like, you know, the sort of Midnight Cowboy. This person's left one place, you know, and as they move, you know, moving across the USA, they're changing themselves as they travel, which is an interesting thing. And then she says, hey, babe, took a walk on the wild side. Said, hey, honey, take a walk on the wild side. Now, of course, if you've ever been down where the wild side exists and you've had a walk down there, it is quite exhilarating, isn't it, to be down there and to feel that you can be something different, to go into the dark nether regions and to be something else. Then he says, Candy came from out on the island in the back room. She was everybody's darling. She never lost her head, even when she was giving head. She says, hey, babe, talk awake on the wild side, blah, blah. And then he says, and the colours girls go, do. Right then, that's that, you know. So there's another woman come down here and she's doing all sorts of rude things. Little Joe never once gave it away. Everybody had to pay and pay. A hustle here and a hustle here. New York City is the place where they said, hey, babe. So this other bloke's now come. He's obviously to New York, which is where they're coming. And he's hustling a bit like Midnight Cowboy. Sugar Plum Fairy came and hit the streets looking for soul food and a place to eat. Went to the Apollo. Should have seen him go. Now, I don't know what Sugar Plum Fairy is, but I imagine as we're going through these sort of identity categories, maybe Sugar Plum Fairy was, you know, maybe they're a homosexual person and maybe they like to go down to where the black people are in New York because they like being down there with those people, you know. Jackie's just speeding away, thought she was James Dean for a day, then I guess she had a crash. Valium would have helped the bash. So now we got this Jackie person taking drugs. So what we got is it's a cornucopia of all sorts of underworld types. And the colour girls say do, which is obviously, you know, this is a reference to soul music, I suppose. Now, what Lou Reed's doing here, to be fair, he's not making any moral judgments. This is not immoral, it's amoral. He is just painting a picture. He's telling you, he's reporting it to you in very much the same way as Frank Zappa would. And in that respect, I would give this one, this is great. This is a great song as we get up to, what number are we at here, Lou? This one is... Oh, where's it gone? Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one is number 5. So we're halfway down, and I think it's absolutely fine. It's evolved like Lola. We've only got a couple in the thing. Surprisingly, Pink Floyd's in there. Maybe ELP. The prog guys aren't faring well, are they? And Frank Zappa to some extent. But. I don't think that one is. I don't think that one is. So I hope you're enjoying this. I don't really, as I get to this point, I don't know whether I am the man to be doing this, but I am. That's the way it's turned out, isn't it? I never quite know what's going to happen in my videos, as you know, and I thought there'd be more humour in this, but actually I'm quite enjoying analysing these lyrics. Because on this channel, we tend to talk about music quite a lot, don't we? We don't tend to talk about lyrics. And I like to go through lyrics and try to, glean some information from them. And I hope you enjoy it too. It's a way of enjoying the music without playing it, which means the video will still be monetized, which is great. Right. One Girl, this is I'm a Boy now at number 4 by The Who. This has always been one of my go-to trans songs. It's we're talking late to mid-60s, a long time ago. And this song it's really, because older, Roger Daltrey. I mean, you can't say Roger Daltrey, can you? A racist, what was his name? Far Right Fred. Can you say Roger Daltrey?
Of course I could say Roger Daltrey. And I sometimes call him Roger Adultery. Because if ever my missus did that, I tell you, I'd be giving her some of this stuff.
So Roger Daltrey, he's very manly. I've always thought, he's like a manly Robert Plant, isn't he? Like a geezer, and Robert Plant is like a more effeminate Roger Daltrey, really, because Daltrey's first, is the old Daltrey is, and so Pete Townsend gets him to sing this song, which I think, he was like, well, have I got to sing this, Pete? I don't want to be singing this song saying about looking on wearing a dress and all that. And then Pete's going, I think you got to do it, mate. I think, I can't do it anyway. So this is the lyrics to I'm a Boy. One girl was called Jean Marie. Another little girl was called Felicity. Another little girl was called Sally Joy. The other was me, and I'm a boy. They practice making up my face, yet I feel lucky if I get trousers to wear, spend evenings taking hairpins out of hair. Now, this is really about something else, because I am a boy that my mum has told me that she wanted a girl when I was born. And I was a boy, and I was a very hyperactive, ADHD-riddled boy that would get into all sorts of mess. And if I went round to my friend's house, that were girls, I would go out to the garden, and very quickly I would have broken stuff and covered myself in mud. And so I would have to be washed all off and dressed. And because they were little girls there, and they had no boys' clothes, I would be then dressed in a lovely dress and bathed and dressed. And then as my mum would then walk back home, various people would stop and go, what a pretty little girl. So they did, and I could have sung at that point or shouted at them. If I knew about The Who at that point, I could have shouted this chorus at them. I'm a boy, but my ma won't admit it. I'm a boy, but if I say I am, I get it. Now, my mum wasn't so strict on that, but she wouldn't say, oh no, this is a little boy, because she would, enjoy the fact that she was getting some sort of, sort of accolades for producing such a pretty little girl. I think, I don't know if I've got any photos of me when I was very young. I'll see what I can find. Anyway, there might be something appearing now. I don't know. I'll put something up. And you can all laugh at that. I'm going to make Dandy like a girl, except for the I mean, where has he gone? Well, Wesley, I need you again. What do you think about that? I'm very proud of you, Andrew, to go back and show that other side of you, because we all have it then. If we just open ourselves up to the real whatever, we've got all that going on, right? So, put on your frock, Jean Marie, plait your hair, Felicity, paint your nails, little Sally Joy, put this wig on, little boy. And then he goes on about things he wants to do. He wants to play cricket on the green. He wants to ride his bike across the stream, cut myself and see my blood, want to come home all covered in mud. Well, I did all that, and what happened when it happened to me is this is more the fact that this is not about how he sees himself. This is how the way the mother sees him. That's not transphobic at all, is it? The Who? No, Roger, you're totally all right here. Now at number 4, I have some Led Zeppelin. Yeah, they've done a transphobic song as well. They have. Royal Orleans, which is off Presence. I'm pulling the lyrics up now as we speak. So shall we see what they're singing about there? Right, so one time love, take care how you use it. Try to make it last all night. And if you take your pick, be careful how you choose it. Sometimes it's hard to feel it bite. So they're talking about one-time love. That would be, they're out on the road. I mean, it's a bit of a prosaic way to describe what they're discussing here, which is, pulling a fan, shall we say, on the road and taking them back to your hotel for some one-time love. But you've got to be careful what you pick, haven't you? He's warning it, and then he says you've got to feel it bite, and then he says feel it bite. Well, what's this bite? Is it an actual bite? I don't know. Shall we find out? A man I know,
John Paul Jones,
went down to Louisiana, had himself a bad fight. And when the sun peeked through, John Cameron with Susanna, he kissed the whiskers left and right. Whiskers! So this is actually alluding to a thing that happened where John Paul Jones had gone off with a person that turned out to have whiskers. Third verse. Now, the fright subsides. Out at a hotel in the quarter. Our friends check in to pass the night. Now love gets hot, but fire preceded water. Poor Whiskers set the room alight. Whiskers. So I think what happens, whatever went on in there, they actually did set fire to the hotel and it burnt down. This is like Led Zeppelin's own Smoke on the Water, but with Led Zeppelin, they just amp it up because they got bloody, groupie sex going on here. We've got bloody, transvestites or transsexuals or whatever you want to call them, all sorts of things. And I like the way he doesn't say who it is, but he went, now, fight subsides, out at a hotel in the quarter. And of course, no quarter was put together by the great John Paul Jones. Now we get this bit here. Down on Bourbon Street, you know it's right. You can see, my friend, they run around all through the night. Most everywhere, until the closet's bare. Run for the razor fun, doing up my hair. So this is him saying, if you go down to Bourbon Street and actually look at all the ladies that are hanging out there, you've got to watch it now. Actually, when I was playing with Mr. Plant, and I have mentioned it at 40 minutes, so I've gone for quite a while, but I can remember driving through a certain town, and one of our road crew type persons I stood on the bus, and as we turned into this road, there was lots of ladies of the night as we drove down it, yes. And I remember this guy stood up and he went to the window and he went, whoa, look at you, whoa, bloody hell, bloody, as we were driving along, Never seen anything like it. You didn't have that type of thing up in the Black Country, not of that quality. And so he's there doing all that, whoa, bloody hell, doing the old, Sid James. And the bus driver, and he just said very, very nonchalantly, he just said this. He goes, these all here, they all men. New Orleans Queens sure know how to schmooze it. Maybe for some that seems all right. When I step out, strut down with my sugar, she's best not talk like Barry White. In other words, here we got the low voice coming out. I mean, I have never actually gone through the lyrics. These lyrics are actually quite funny. Now one time love, take care how you use it. Try and make it last all night. Take your pick, be careful how you choose it. Sometimes it's hard to feel it bite. What I love about this, I didn't really realise that twice he shouts just for no reason, "Whiskers!" which is up there with older Rob Halford, which of course at the beginning of Dissident Aggressor, once that big build-up's come up and you get this big, as it hits that big thing, Rob Halford just shouts for no reason whatsoever, "Canyons!" Robert there beats old Halford at his own game by shouting "Whiskers." Absolutely brilliant stuff. It's a brilliant song. I love it. It's funky. It's Zeppelin. Right, we are now on to the top 3 greatest transphobic songs, which could well be transphobic or not, which is what the thing is, you know, I think Moby could have picked any of these songs, and he could have been right and he could have been wrong. That's the point. So, at number 2, I've got Dude Looks Like a Lady by Aerosmith. Right? Now this tune followed up after their huge hit record Walk This Way, which they did with the old Run DMC, didn't they? So that came out, and then this one came out. Dude looks like a lady. Dude looks like a lady. And I love it. That album, which album's that? Permanent Vacation. I absolutely love. Right, I love early Aerosmith when they're gutsy rock and roll, dirty riffs. But I also love it when they team up with all these songwriters, don't they? And they write some really good songs. They're just good songs. They're still rocking. Steven Tyler's one of my favourite singers. His voice is incredible on this, as it always is. I just, from a musical point of view, Dude Looks Like a Lady is just amazing. Plus, Scott Lady, the YouTuber, I've been able to, add to his name by calling him Scott Dude Looks Like a Lady, although he says his surname is not pronounced Lady. It's, how's it played? Lade? Lady Lade. See, I can do it. Scott Lady Lade. The only other way it could be pronounced is Lardy, isn't it? Lardy. You don't want to be called Lardy because here in the UK that means you're fat. So, Dude Looks Like a Lady, brilliant tune, and I think he doesn't get played that much on the radio because they're worried, aren't they? They're worried that he's transphobic. Now, let's get older. Where is he again? Down here. I always have to go down here, you see, to get him older, woke Wesley. Let's see what he thinks. But I think it's an absolutely awful song, this Dude Looks Like a Lady. I was never a fan of Aerosmith at all. I was much more into the Lighthouse family, really. But it just seems, it's very offensive, really, isn't it? Well, Wesley, I want to tell you something. This album was made with a songwriter, and originally they were going to change the lyrics because Steven Tyler and the boys thought the lyrics were a little bit too much, but their songwriter was gay. And he said, no, we keep it Dude Looks Like a Lady. And at that time, it was seen to be celebrating difference and all that type of thing. So what do you think to that then, Wesley? And what about you, far right Fred? What do you think?
Well, Aerosmith work with a pufter? That ain't bloody on, is it?
Right, so I'm going to read the lyrics out of this. It's quite funny. It's like this. It's Aerosmith, but what you have to understand is that this is not written about a trans person. I think it's written about Mike Monroe, who was the lead singer of Hanoi Rocks, who confused me a lot when I was a young lad getting Kerrang in the early 80s. Mike Monroe did confuse me, and even though my dad was called Mike, looking at him, I thought, well, yeah, but Mike's a girl's name. Well, is Mike a girl's name? Not really, is it? You know, so I'm having a quick look at the lyrics now. I don't know about this one. I think that the fact that you could go and find the interview with that songwriter, the fact that a gay man who is part of the LGBTQ, he's part of that. So surely the fact that he was the guy that was instigating this was, I don't know. I can't. This is where I get confused with all these things. I hope I'm traversing this okay, that nobody's getting upset and is enjoying the sort of, the voyage to this. Now, at number 2, I thought, because obviously Lola's number 1, so we've done Lola, and Lola is one of the greatest songs ever written. The lyrics are sublime. It's absolutely wonderful. Moby, he's totally wrong, but I mean, if you go back, you'll find a video where I got my Moby CD. God knows I owned bloody Play. The one where he sampled all the good blues singers from the olden days and stuck a crappy drum beat on it and straightened it all out and then had a hit record with it, Bloody Moby, bloody hell, Can't stick the bloke, And I once read back in the 90s when everyone was being a bit laddish, that he did very laddish things, stripping off and rubbing himself against people. I don't know whether that's true. It's probably not, and I probably just made that up, and it's probably slanderous. So he didn't do that, and I don't even know whether he did. But he's the sort of bloke I imagine would, and that's the whole point, isn't it? Not to malign him with a completely prejudicial thing, but if that is the case, you can tell me whether he did do that. Now, if he did do that, he should shut his gob. There he is, really, committing those sorts of nastiness to people, and now he's moaning about a song which is championing, diversity and actually doing an incredibly hard job of negotiating its way between these two different dialectic moral views, But I felt at number 2, I really need to hit the jackpot here and really come up with something that was absolutely awful. And when I'm looking for absolutely awful, horrendous, offensive, there's only one band you need to go to, isn't there? And that's the Scorpions. Whether it be the album cover, whether it be the lyrics, whether it be Klaus Mein's ridiculous posturing on stage, everything about the Scorpions. Now, I like the Scorpions. I do like them, but they are rubbish. And then on top of that, they try and sing these rock and roll lyrics with Klaus Mein's awful screechy voice, which has got a German accent. So you have to imagine he's saying these rock and roll lyrics with a German accent. It never quite works out. So I'm going to go through the lyrics of He's a Woman, She's a Man to decide to see out whether it's transphobic or not. Shall we have a go? Are you ready for this one? I saw it walk. I saw it. He calls it straight off. I mean, that's it. Straight off, I saw it walking. Now you can say he's German and maybe he's got his, he, she's and it's, mixed up. But he just comes straight in, doesn't he, old Klaus? I saw it walking down. I saw it walking down. I saw it walking lowly down the street. Cool like a cat. Like a crazy dream. This is a rubbish accent. I ain't going to do it. I can't. I'm not channeling the German. I'm normally very good. Being British, would have thought I'd be able to just get a German accent up straight up. It's not good. It's too much going on. It's Klaus Meine, him's the transphobic thing, and then then you got the war in there. Don't want to upset people. Don't mention the war. Don't mention the war, Andy. What are you mentioning the war for? Cool like a cat and like a crazy dream. I'm looking twice again and I can't believe. Oh, no. He's like that bloke on the bus with Robert. I'm having to look twice. I can't believe it. It turned round and then it looked at me. I thought, oh, no, it really couldn't be. It was a man and was a woman too. This is the worst. See, I hadn't read the lyrics. I knew it. I watched them perform it, and it was so awful. And I just left the lyrics thinking, I bet I could get some humour out on the spot. I had 2 ideas for this video. I thought, let's do the old Moby, have a chat about that, because I know people are interested in that, and then I'll do the top 10, and then I'll get to number 1. And I thought Lola's going to be number 1, so I'll put this one at number 2, and I thought I'll save it up, and something will come out. And as I'm here, I know what we've got is just gold. It's golden. The Scorpions never let you down. It turned around and then it looked at me. I thought, oh no, it really couldn't be. It was a man and was a woman. It's that line. It was a man and was a woman too. Say what you see, Klaus.
He's a woman, she's a man. Oh, he's a woman, she's a...
That's the chorus. I'm not even adding anything comedic to this. I'm just laughing at it. Right, pull yourself together. Come on. It's not that funny. I think it really... Why is he calling it? I think it really came from far away. Why would it come from far away, like from another planet? I'm feeling hypnotised. I have to stay. It takes my hand and says, come on, let's go. Oh, God. I got to read it again. I think it really came from far away. Why? We're going home. There's nothing more to say. He starts to move. She starts to play. I need a body. Why not you? Wow. Klaus, there he is calling it. Then the next minute he's going, come on then, I need a body. I just need a body. Why not you? Wow. He's a woman, she's a man. He's a woman, she's a woman. He's a man, he's a woman, she's a man, he's a woman. It's like a bloody grown-up version of Girls Who Like Boys. And then the last word at the end, look. What's the last word? It's woman. Woman. Oh, God. Oh, God, my neck's hurting. I can't make any money off this video. It's been too enjoyable. It's the most fun I've had for about 15 years, that was. Oh, look, can you see my eyes? Look, I've got tears in my eyes. Look, can you see? Got tears in my eyes. Oh. Songwriters Rudolf Schenker, Klaus Meine, Herman Rarebell. What's the drummer doing? Okay, Herman. Because for some reason, I know that the drummer in the Scorpions is Herman Rarebell. It's always stuck in my mind because when I was young in Kerrang, he brought a solo album out, and I remember thinking, Herman Rarebell. Everything about the Scorpions is funny and grossly offensive. I was watching them the other night. And I don't know, and it's like I fell to sleep and YouTube was on and I woke up all night and for some reason YouTube just would not move away from the Scorpions. So I was getting all sorts of things. And you got Uli John Roth, he's bloody amazing guitarist. And he's just so, it's just, the music's just coming out of it. You can see he's just so with it all, you know. What's that, Sales of Sharon, what's that song? You know, that's an amazing tune. And when they're amazing, they're amazing. But when you watch it and the things they're getting up to in Klaus Meine, he's so little and his hair so frizzy and he looks into the camera and it's, oh, I think that's what's made me laugh is just picturing him doing it. Anyway, winds of change. Anyway, you ain't going to be able to get anything more funny out than that, Andy. So don't put any money in the tip jar. Don't become a member. Don't give me any financial remuneration for this video. Don't even watch it. Don't even watch it. Don't even let me get the views. In fact, I'm not going to put it out. I'll put it out private, so I know it's there. I've done the work now, won't really. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Bloody 52 minutes on that nonsense. Well, it's done, isn't it? Cheers a lot. Cheers a lot. Bloody hell, you've lost your. I mean, I'm not very articulate the best at times, am I? God knows why I've become a YouTuber. I always think you're so inarticulate. It's so difficult for you to stream a sentence together that makes sense. I watch my videos sometimes. I'm talking okay now because now I'm just being me, but when I get into the whole YouTube shtick, it's like my grammar and word use just goes out the window. I am aware of all these things, you know. But that was a good video. I've never cracked up like that on video before, so that's a first. I hope you found that funny, or you're going to be sat there, I don't know, I'm not making sense now. I think I'm going to the shop and get a Battenberg cake. I need some sort of a sugary sustenance after that. Thanks for watching.